Sorry? Steve's not coming. Right, sorry about the impromptu change of venue. I had booked a room, I thought I had, but I spoke to John and Woody, the caretakers, and they said they had no knowledge of it, so I'll have to find out what's happening in the morning. So we have an agenda. Everyone got that? Thank you all for coming. There's one item to add to the agenda, which is the Compass Group did a walkabout of the town, and I've sent round the photographs and so on with that. So if they're going to talk on that, I think we'll do that near the...
We are prepared, so go with us.
I'll do that near the beginning. So I'll do that after notes of the last meeting and matters arising. So, any apologies for absence? I've had apologies from Tony Broon and Steve Lazaret. And Councillor Paul Graham. So, any others? No? Okay. Notes of last meeting and matters arising. I attach these to the email. Are there any matters arising from the meeting held on the 1st of February?
Well, I think we should. Well, I think we should just talk about how everybody feels about the market being in the car park.
Yes.
And I've noticed that the footfall on a Thursday in this church is considerably, and I mean considerably, down on when the market was normally in the Guildhall. And I'm not the only trader in Market Street who's seen the footfall fall.
Footfall in Market Street is in town generally is very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, noticeably Thursdays are quieter.
Yeah, as I said, the only consolation that we can bring people back into Market Street is because on the 2nd of March, the indoor market starts in here with the cafe. So we'll advertise that, signpost it from the Guildhall, so that should bring more people up to Market Street and into the church. I'm hopeful anyway, because for not only for the businesses in Market Street, but also the stall holders that will be in the church.
Is the market reporting lower footfall as well?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think various people have been trying to promote it.
Unfortunately, the goalposts are moving all the time, because every week we get a new email saying the market can't go in certain places. Mm-hmm. So so it can't go outside the surgery, it can't go here. So this week I've got another email to say the market's got to be moved again because of the surgery. Yeah. So the goalposts are moving all the time. You know, and that's the problem. We haven't got a fixed. We didn't have a fixed thing. Right. So every week I get an email from Kieran who says, "Oh, now we've got to move it because the surgery don't like it here," or "Now we've got to move it because this has happened." Okay. So now again, I've got to do another plan for this Thursday.
Can I just say something, Colin?
Yeah.
Something I'm not sure of or don't understand is that the car parking spaces next to the surgery, which were taken up with the contractors, have now been empty for about a week, maybe more. Mm. So, but we're still not allowed to park there. So I'm just wondering whether that would.
No, we're not allowed to use that space. That's another email I've got to say we're not allowed to use that space at all.
So if we're not allowed to use it, do we know why and whether? Because either it could be a good space, or it can be used for car parking, which would bring in more people.
I don't know. I just got the email to say that that space cannot be used now at all for any market stalls. The market stalls have got to move.
Can I just say something? You're talking about two different places, aren't you? You're talking about outside the extension, and you're talking about the hammerhead turning.
That hammerhead turning I'm talking about. Yeah. We can't put anything there.
Regarding the parking spaces, apologies. I spoke to Dean Aldridge, Parking Services Manager, DDC, when we were sorting out the market before it started the first week. And he said to me that the car parking spaces within the Guildhall, both car parks, are about to be relined as well. So I'm not sure whether that's to do with it.
Yeah, so the parking services team are currently looking at how they can reorganise the spaces, particularly in the back car park, to rearrange so that I think the latest iteration I saw, we end up with one less parking space than what it was before the extension. So
no, I was just thinking that there was a designated area which we've all got used to not parking there because they have the contractor there for the surgery.
I haven't heard that conversation, but I can pick that up with Kieran.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just said that nothing's got to go in that hammerhead turning at
The
all.
hammerhead, definitely,
No,
the
and-
surgery of,
yeah, The surgery don't want them out there.
I think the key thing is that between now and the end of May, when the project ends, it's a chance to review the market and, you know, relaunch it in due course.
I just think the market needs to be in the centre of town, but that's just always been my opinion. You know, people disagree with my opinion, but I always think I'm sorry, but I cannot understand why one road cannot be closed for 1 day a week, for between 6 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. I do not understand how that cannot be happening.
And who made that decision not to put it here?
It was a consultation that happened 4 years ago with the market traders that are no longer there, and because of course you had Simon, who had the fruit bowl, who didn't want fruit and veg there, and I love a couple of businesses didn't want the market into Market Street, but those have gone now. But I just can't understand why we just can't on a Thursday close a road. We close King Street from 9 till 1, don't we? Why can't we close Market Street on a Thursday from 6?
Action then, isn't it?
It's
Somebody to speak. If it was 4 years ago, it needs reviewing currently. I cannot keep stressing how we cannot talk about the pandemic in the past. We've got to start fresh. And somebody, I don't know whether that has to be an official or whether we all write, but somebody has to say to Dover District Council, this needs reviewing.
Richard?
I'm obviously very sorry to hear that there's people that footfall is done for traders. What I just wanted to pick up on there was your point about after May. Do I understand from what you said that there is some question about whether the market would return to the Guildhall forecourt?
No, there's no question about it, Richard.
No,
It's just
good.
that my opinion is that I think it should be in the centre of town. That's my personal
You
opinion.
mean not in the forecourt?
Not in the forecourt, but that's my personal opinion.
Okay,
That's
I
not.
just wanted to be
No,
clear.
no.
But that's a personal
That's
view,
a personal.
it's not a council
No,
view
it's a
or-
personal
But
view.
the council needs to review this, both the Tollbridge Fund and the council, because the forecourt is jointly owned. And I've talked to Anne-Marie about whether the council would maybe invest in, uniform gazebos like they have
That's
in
part of
Faversham.
that's part of the forecourt.
Can I just?
Redevelopment.
Can I
Certainly,
just?
if
Yeah.
I recall, sorry, but I just wanted to, completing the thought there, that I recall in all the discussions about the remodelling of the forecourt, it was always integral that, it would be a suitable, appropriate and only place, if you like, or inevitable place for the market to continue to be in. So,
if we had a bustling market, you could have it in
But
both
the thing is, you've got to
locations.
understand as well, Colin, is that the Thursday market is the most expensive for stallholders than any other market. The Saturday market in Deal, the price of one pitch is half the price of what I have to charge on a Thursday. And that's a Saturday. So when this forecourt's developed and the council will come to me and say, well, Anne-Marie, we've got to put the prices of the pitches up, how many people do you think are going to come? Because at the moment, even when the forecourt was, before it was done, we were just not getting the footfall for the stalls. So if you're going to put the prices up,
So they pay £20 a day.
well, at the moment I'm charging them half price, but you're charging some people £40 for a Thursday when they can pay 20 on a Saturday in Deal Market. Exactly.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, to support Anne-Marie, this suggestion when the project is finished, it seems to me they're going to want a sanitised offering on the market with all these corporate gazebos. It would make far more sense if you had a proper market in Market Street. We don't have a high street in Sandwich, but we do have Market Street, so we should make use of it.
My concern is that when the project's done, the council are going to come to me and tell me that the stallholders' pitches are going to have to go up by quite a lot, and you just will not get them, because why would they come on a Thursday for £40 when they can go to Deal on a Saturday for 20 and have twice the footfall?
And did I hear you right? I think Deal has a waiting list.
Yes, exactly.
I just don't know where this pricing is coming from. Who is setting
The price comes from the Sandwich Town Council.
Sandwich Town Council?
Yes.
Okay.
And when was that last?
It was reviewed when I first took over, and they asked me to increase it, and I haven't increased it. So I took over before the pandemic. I've been doing it 4 years. They asked me to increase it, and I said no, we can't increase it straight after a pandemic. Then they asked me to increase it last year, and I said no. And when we went into the car park, the deal with Sandwich Town Council was that the stall holders would pay half of what their pitch fee is on a Thursday, so that they could at least have a chance of making some money.
I mean, there must be an argument for having lower prices as a way of stimulating trade, I would have thought.
Well, but that's my concern,
But
Colin, you know.
I've never seen it being reviewed, so...
I think it's important.
But you can do that if you're in Market Street, you can dictate the price.
I'm just concerned that when this Guildhall project is finished, you need to recuperate money. And where's your income coming from? Oh, let's see. It's a market on a Thursday that's got 10, 15 stalls. So let's put the price up so that we can get as much money in as quickly as possible. And that's my concern, that we're going to lose store holders when you suddenly say, oh, okay, you've been paying £10 in the car park, but now, because the Guildhall forecourt's all done, you've got to pay 40.
Yes, okay. Well, that's obviously a question for the town council to address.
I think what is needed is an overhaul of the markets done after the elections when the new council's in place. That's my suggestion. We get the market manager in with all the councillors and we can have a proper head-banging moment and see what we can come up with.
Headbanging.
Well, you know what I mean?
Banging heads together.
That's it, yeah.
Well,
We'll do that.
I think we could have an initial report to maybe the March Heritage meeting, Council and Tilbury meeting, and maybe Anne-Marie, you
I could come along,
draft
yeah.
something.
I know this is tourism, and I know I bang on about the market, but I am very passionate about the market. I've been doing it for 4 years, and it's almost like my baby. And when things go wrong, the first people they come to me, you know, and I want to keep the fact that you can have flowers and eggs and things, you know, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about we're going to lose these traders.
Colin, can I just say, this is the Tourism Information Working Group. I do think that the
I know.
market
I'm
is
sorry.
important.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it does attract tourists to some extent. Shall we move on with the minutes? Anything else on the minutes? The toilets, public conveniences, Councillor Harry Sampson is leading on that. And he's had something
Sandwich
like...
heritage, interest in toilets.
He's had over, I think, nearly 200 responses on his poll that he sent out. So he's getting a good lot of feedback about what we do with the public conveniences at the quay. And one of the options is to have a little business in there. And
There is a report for the full council meeting on Monday.
yeah, okay, I haven't seen that.
And actually, the proposal to have a business there was considered by the council, and there was someone that was willing to do it, but at the last minute the council decided not to do it. So that report can be pulled back up as well.
Can I ask, is the survey only online or have...
Survey's completed now, isn't it?
But is there something post on the notice boards and on the
There's one on my
on
door.
the toilets and things like that?
There's one on the door.
Right.
He has done something because I've had some letters being put through my door, which
good.
I've posted,
Yeah.
taken over to the Guildhall.
Great.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce, Richard Harris gave an update. I don't know, Dan, if you would say anything else about that.
Just social media training on Friday.
World Tourist Office, Steve Laslett, Quayside. Response to consultation is on this agenda. Sandwich in blue. And that's it, I think, on the minutes. Anything else? Matters arising? Okay, thanks. So the next item is Claire and Martine. You're going to give an update on your walkabout around the town. So I think what they did is a walkabout from the station.
We did,
Just
yes,
to do a
I
kind of
think
tourist-eyed view of how people...
It's difficult to capture just how bleak the welcome is,
Yeah.
basically.
Claire, do you think you could stand up so that...
You'll hit on my hand.
So I think, did you attach these, Colin?
I sent them out this afternoon.
So I managed to get some printed out, but it was myself, Martine and Claire Bennett, we are effectively the Compass group. So we started at the station and pretended we'd got to the station. We came out of the station and found this, I think that was the map that was at the station, see that there was the British Rail sign, but you couldn't really work out where you were going or where to go to get past or away from the station. So we then could see here there was an estate, a housing estate, so we thought, well, we won't take that road. So we then took the pathway which takes us down to Wellesley Terrace and Malcolm Waite's garage. So you immediately end up on a path about half the size of here. So if you had a buggy or there's a group of you, it's quite dangerous. The level crossing is there. There's absolutely nowhere to know where you're going to go. So if you turned left, you'd walk up towards the tech, and you turn right, take a guess, yeah, or. So we crossed over, didn't we, to Wellesley Terrace, and then all of a sudden on the corner of St George's Road, there's one of those awful brass and bronze signage signs that we've got everywhere that nobody can read. And you could see there was just a slight arrow, town centre. So we started walking down towards the town. So we came down there, we came past, where did we get to then? Galliard Street. And as you then come to Galliard Street, so there's the Malcolm Waite showroom there, there's only signs that show the cars coming towards you where to go. So there's nothing for pedestrians at all. So we just took a guess and carried on walking down the road. But we noticed there's like a big sign for locks at the back of the Royal Mail, and we thought that would be an ideal place for like a metal plaque, town this way, or, you know, follow this route. So that was the first thing that we really thought that would be a good idea. So then we got to the Guildhall via Costa and noticed more of the signs that really need updating. And apparently, what did the guy say? The young hooligan.
The school kids, you move these signs, so if they're wrong, that's because somebody's put
Oh, yeah, they do.
They can actually be moved. So because we were like, that's not the way to do it.
No.
It's future-proofed in case the town walls move. We can move the sign.
I like it a lot. But then as we got past Costa and got to the Guildhall, I mean, obviously I know it's all going to change now, but this is where we ended up, and we couldn't see the museum. You couldn't even see the signs of the museum. So everyone would have turned up on this corner opposite No Name Street, and there was a bit of the market there. So we sort of shuffled over.
I've only lived here 2.5 years now, but I didn't know where the entrance was. I've never noticed it. And I mean, I have lived here. I mean, I'm quite a sort of observant, and I was like, well, where is the entrance to the museum? But we're not making enough of it.
No,
it
definitely wasn't very well signposted.
But the museum's fabulous.
The museum is fabulous, and I think one of the tourism selling points of the museum could be that the town is the destination. So, you know, sometimes a museum might put you off because you think, well, I'm going to have to spend 90 minutes here and, you know, I'm going to be tour guided round. Whereas we could sell that as a quick pop in, pop out, and we felt as well it would be ideal for a bit of, there could be some sort of tourist information in there, perhaps a standard board. We then came back out and started to cross over the road and come into Market Street, and we walked down Potter Street and noticed by the Strand Street kitchen there's this beautiful big blank wall that could have a lovely metal sign to the key. But also we noticed at the end of Potter Street, and this might be something for the bell, that Tony's not here, but we noticed when you come out of Potter Street, you can't actually see that Bell Hotel sign, you only see a blank wall. So that might be another thing for the Bell to actually put a sign there, because you genuinely can't see the Bell until you start walking down, I can't remember what that road's called. Strand Street. So then we came down to the quay, and obviously we've mentioned it before, the maps there are all incredibly bleak and looking a bit sorry for themselves. And there was a really bizarre one by the museum that just, I've only got the legs of it here, but it was just in the middle of a patch of grass. So on a wet, damp day, you sort of had to walk over the grass to get to see what was on it.
Medieval centre.
Yeah, but it was, it definitely had something on it about the town, didn't it? So, but it's just been placed, I don't know whether they've turfed up to the car park or just changed something.
I think that was cited before the key flood development stuff by the EA. So it's it was adjacent to a walkway, and subsequently it's become no man's land.
That would make sense. So, I mean, really, in summary, what we noticed was
it's not welcoming. We're not welcoming visitors when they get off of the train. It's either you walking into a housing estate. It can't be through there, or I go down this little park. There's nothing to say. Welcome to Sandwich. Go this way. Do this. There's nothing there.
and then the last thing. Yes,
I got off the train coming from London the day before yesterday, and there were two obvious tourists looking extremely lost because they didn't know which way, which was the front of the station. Yeah. And they were staring at their map, on their screen, and they just couldn't sort it out. So I had to show them. They had to go over the bridge to get to the front of the station. But even when they got to the front of the station, I mean, as you say, there's absolutely nothing there. There has to be something at the station to tell people on that incoming London platform where they should go next.
To welcome. To welcome our tourists. It's the same at the Guildhall car park. You park the car, but okay, you've got the back of the Guildhall, which doesn't really say what the Guildhall is. I know there are a few signs, but we need to have something that's more welcoming. The signage, the maps are just dull. They don't, they're not going to make people interested in walking around. They just think, it's just here. They're just going to take it in there.
I think one of the other things, if you arrive at the station, if you're an able-bodied person, then walking down that alley and up onto the town wall, you then get one of the best views of Sandwich across the bowling green and the church and the.
But how would you find that?
There is
a little notice when you get to the other side. But you've got to go through through that group of houses to cross over the road.
I agree with all of that. I think another place where a great big sign, welcome to Sandwich, could be put would be on the balcony beneath Guildhall, because it could be very visual there. To have one on the other side of the building as well. So when you come from the car park, you can see it as well. And you get a nice sign up there.
And a nice
the
one,
other thing,
plastic one.
Nice one, not a plastic one.
We did suggest a banner a number of years ago to be placed on the side facing the car park, alerting people to come through, shops this way and stuff like that. But that was roundly thrown out.
Anyway, I've just put that forward. No. And the other thing I wanted to say, I understand there is a sign that leads you down 7 Post Alley. And I believe that Steve Laslett just made it. He got so fed up of trying to get a sign, he just made it himself and stuck it there.
In town centre.
So signage through the proper channels is very expensive, so we would have to have a strategy.
But I think that's something we need to invest in, isn't it? If it's going to cost a lot of money, but if you're going to invest in it.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just pointing it out.
Somebody contacted me last week. Apparently, there's some Japanese tourists here last Friday. I saw them queue, and they were looking lost. And there's one of these maps. This map doesn't say anything. It doesn't say you are here.
We couldn't. Every map we went to, considering that I've lived here since 1997, I was thinking, how do I orient myself here, and where am I, and what is that about? So, for instance, the one behind Sid's.
Yes.
It had a map, but it had points. I don't know whether it was showing where pubs were back in the day. It was really bizarre.
Are they the historic boards?
They could very
the black historic boards. They're similar to those.
Visitor information map.
I know what you mean now.
There's one by Malcolm Waits, isn't there? On the
but it's been a perennial problem. Councillor Fox has just said about Steve Laslett putting that sign up, because it was a common problem 10 or more years ago. People going down, coaches disembarking on the quay and not knowing how to get to the town centre. Is there a possibility of having some kind of a trail from the quay to the town centre using a subtly, and I say subtly, different coloured paving stones. I know it's going to, I mean, all of this boils down to cost, and I know we're going to have a massive wish list for what we want, and we're not going to achieve everything that we want. But it's just a
I
thought.
think that's a big, I mean, it's a conservation area. planning
I was
issue,
going to make
so
that, yeah.
That's why I say
maybe
subtly.
subtle paving, but certainly not painted lines.
Slightly
or
off
anything.
grey, might not stand out.
Yeah, feral and bald.
At the meeting before last, the representative from DDC,
Yeah.
the employee said that was being addressed
So
imminently, didn't
exactly,
The historic boards.
And maps.
yeah, and the
they are, yeah,
signposts.
12 months.
I have emailed Chris Townend and I'll chase him up on
Yeah.
that because we need a schedule, but also
Yeah.
whether there's any funding for additional signage, because there's always been this
Know what they're going to
disconnect
do, though, don't
between
they?
the quay and the town centre.
So they announced the formal start of that project last week, I think, and that's to be completed within 12 months, and that's an update of the rather shabby looking historic boards that have probably been in place since 1980. They'll be updated. Lynn O'Donoghue actually was working on a project a long time ago about adding some more of the historic boards in Sandwich with some of the more relevant and interesting information, but I think we got stuck in the quagmire of planning as to where they went, and obviously Lynn didn't get re-elected, and it
And
died a
also,
death.
Harry Sampson is working on some kind of app, I think, for QR codes and walking around so you can have it live on your phone.
Good.
Yes, I was going to say about an app, that would be very useful, but I do think we have to be careful about signs. I was a bit disappointed when you said that those black and brass signs are not suitable. I mean, they're high quality.
Oh, I'm sure they
And
are.
what worries me about signage, I mean, Canterbury High Street looks absolutely dreadful now. I don't know if you've looked recently, but the shop fronts are just appalling. So we would have to go, I think, for high quality uniform style for signage, and that will cost money.
I agree. I mean, there's lots of things about the lack of signage. For me, it was the lack of welcome.
Yeah.
When we're talking about tourism, we should be welcoming our tourists. And obviously, we're very interested in maps because of our map.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see that, used a lot more. I mean, I'm hoping we'll have it rolled out a lot more. But it's about really making it interesting and making it so people want to explore. Yeah. I think maybe it shouldn't be too easy for them because you want to be. Do you understand what I mean? You want to be exploring it, finding the interest.
I mean,
at the moment, there's nothing really to make you think, well, why should I go down that road?
Yeah.
We don't want to direct everyone to where we think they should go. We should point them in the general direction and let them explore.
I mean, the three main points of entry, if you like, are the station, Cattle Market and the quay, aren't they? So that's where the focus should be. Can we leave this? I mean, thanks for that presentation. Can we leave that? I will contact Chris Townend just to find out what the schedule is for the upgrade of the signage and the historic boards. And also if there's any funding for additional in the same style.
Include the Gas and Salts car park as well, because that's the other place that...
That's true, sorry I missed it. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, so...
So thanks Martine and Claire for that. So the next item is, sorry, that's my agenda. Has anyone got the agenda open?
It's leaflets and other literature.
Yeah, I mean, I brought along a load of different things. I'm sure you've seen all of these, but I mean, I'm not proposing we discuss them now, but I mean, they're everywhere in the town. There's different outlets have had them. The Visitor Information Centre has them. I mean, what can we say about the leaflets? They obviously all need to be looked at in due
Some of
course.
those leaflets, Colin, are very specific because they're about specific buildings or places that we go. I mean, in a way, the map, the compass map, was trying to get people to move around the town. In that respect, that's the point. We can't stop people who want to put their own leaflets out. They're all helpful. But what we really need is this a map that is encompassing where and how you get around the town.
Can I just interrupt? There was a very good map last year, which was a red map, which showed you the whole of the town, all the way around, okay, and it was in 3 different languages. It was in French, German and Dutch. And I had them in here, and I got them from Kerry over at the council office, and everybody loved them because it showed you famous people. No, I haven't got any. And when I went to get some more, I was told they were out of print and I could only download them from the Dover District Council. And that was a perfect map, because we've got to remember, not only do you have English visitors coming, but you've got visitors, and this map opened, it was a red map, opened into 3 folds, and it had every point all the way around the town, and it was in 3 different languages. And we can't get that anymore.
I
Can you
remember
that?
it. I do remember it.
It was
Yes,
called
it was
the Town
very good.
Trail, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was in 3 different languages. And yet we can't get it anymore. And to me that's such a shame, because that does appeal to the people that are not only English that come here, you know, in their own language, a map that shows them different points and tells you about the Earl Sandwich. That was all in there, wasn't it? All of that.
Is that produced by White Cliffs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie, do you have any data about nationalities?
Yes, we have lots. You can read the visitors' books. You also can see lots of different types of visitors coming, mainly the Dutch and the Flemish, to see the.
I remember
the Dutch all speak English.
In the previous organisation, the Tourism Committee that I was a member of, we had a lot of discussion about maps and pamphlets. There were 2 dimensions to this. One of them was, how do we advertise Sandwich outside Sandwich? In other words, to get people to come here in the first place. And I recall that we had, I can't remember if it was Steve Lazar or somebody that produced many thousands of copies of, rather nice-looking brochures and things, which could be, left at stations, travel agents, that sort of thing. I don't know whether you're considering that, but that seems to me quite fundamental to get people here in the first place. Because I'm amazed at how many of my friends, for example, when I first came here, never heard of the place, no idea that we had the longest, completest stretch of medieval, all that stuff. They had no idea whatever, and were charmed when they got here. So the first challenge is to get people here in the first place, and I don't know whether you're looking at that. The second, and forgive me if you are, but I haven't been to the previous meeting. And the second one is, once you get people here, absolutely welcome them and give them something to navigate so they actually find things, particularly things we want them to find, where they might spend some money. So the map that you were talking about, Sue, was a very good tool, I think, for that.
Yeah, I mean,
your one was absolutely superb too. Exactly, yeah. Quite where you hand those out, as it were. I mean, you just highlighted a key problem, which is people arriving at the station not knowing where the hell they are, really, apart from the Sandwich station. No indication. But is that where there should be, copies of the maps sort of under the shelter by the station? And if you do put them there, do they all get vandalised by our youth? That's a problem. Put it on there. Yeah.
I mean, the main visitor guide is this one, produced by Sandwich Town Council. This was reproduced, or rewritten rather, early last year and published. I'm not sure how many are still available, but at some point in the next...
There's a lot. We've got 2 boxes under there.
At some point in the next 12 months it will be rewritten, and we need to update it, obviously. But then there's a myriad of other different leaflets produced by different organisations. I think what I said at the last meeting, I think what we need is a kind of proactive tourism officer, if you like, who will make sure that pubs and places like this are stocked with leaflets, but also are reaching out to coach companies, tourism companies, and promoting through advertorial, what are they called, advertorials or articles, whatever it might take. I mean, Councillor Fox has, I don't know if you've seen the brilliant video that Anne's friend has done, which has had over 2,000 viewings.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. YouTube. And there's also Kent Life, the latest Kent Life.
It's in there as well, yes.
As a feature. It's that sort of thing that's going to bring people here.
And it's at different levels, isn't it? Because within 20 minutes of here, there's probably 500,000 people. So it's attracting local people as tourists. I mean, even if you live in Woodensbury, you're still a kind of tourist if you're coming into the town to have a look around. But also the more people further afield in the country, but also from overseas as well.
Sure, I agree.
You also get people who've come down and, you know, taken a week or a long weekend in Margate, Broadstairs, wherever. Deal. And if it's a wet, nasty day, that's when they get on a train and come to Sandwich, because they need to occupy the children as well. So you see, that's when you see a lot of, and you can tell the sort of tourists they are. They come prepared for the beach, but they're wandering around.
But it's not just a local authority thing; it's down to every business.
Yeah,
of course.
Hospitality to get on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, but I don't really think since the Compass Group have sort of really been pushing that, we see so many more of our local shops advertising on social media.
It's the future.
Well, yes, it's incredible.
Future, yeah.
It's just because I think that is going to be the key. That's where Sandwich Town Council really need to divert some funds. We need a Housebound website. We need this interactive map.
That's the one.
That would be my absolute number one priority. The one thing I would say needs doing, and the stress on the fact that it's the Sandwich Town that's the destination. You're not going to the museum, you're not going to the quay, you're not going to the medieval centre. You can do the whole town in half a day. That's going to be our selling point. Without a shadow of a doubt. I've said to you before, I did a working group, just a little chat with about 20 families at the Cliftonville market. They're all down from London's, they've all moved here, they're all affluent, double incomes, young children. They don't mind that they have to pay for parking as long as they can find a space. And that's what they want. They want a good cup of coffee, they want to wander around, a look up the tower. You know, that's genuinely what they're looking for. And if they spend some extra money on the way and into the shops, then really that's what we want.
Can I just say something, Colin? You're talking about marketing. So I had a really horrible tower poster that had been put up there since the tower actually was put up in 2015. And I decided that I needed to update the board. So I had the local guy called Steve the Chalk, who did my board. Since that board's been done, I had it done on the 16th, which was a week ago to tomorrow, and I've had 42 people up the tower with that board. Because the board outside, both sides, it says fantastic views of Sandwich, pay at the desk inside, and I've even had people said to me, the board brought me in, because it says fantastic views of Sandwich. Now that cost me £60, which is fine, but that is a bargain. So if I can invest £60 and have 40 odd people up the tower in a week, not we're talking a week, then surely investing a little bit of more money in signs will encourage more people to come in. So that's just something that I've done, and I think that is a really good investment.
Steve the Chalk.
Steve the Chalk, yeah.
Digital and social media are going to be critical, especially for businesses. You know, through the Sandwiches Open website, Facebook, Instagram. You know, we've got an average of 100,000 people viewing that every month.
Can I visit Sandwich app?
I saw Anne-Marie's board, and I have to say I thought it looked really good, so well done on that. But I'm reminded of a town council meeting that I attended a long time ago about the discussion about A-boards and whether they were actually permitted or not. And so I do notice that there is a proliferation of them in the town, but I'm not sure what the situation is there.
It's supposed to be licensed.
Carol was
I
the guru
did a
on this.
whole record about this quite a few years ago, and I noticed too that they were coming back. And one of the issues is that we've got sort of sitting on the disabled group as well. You know, you cannot. It's hard enough to walk around the town on a pavement anyway. But if you've got A-boards there, it's even more difficult. A-boards are supposed to only be outside their own premises, so they shouldn't be in other places. I did take quite a few last summer and sent them into the Chief Executive Officer to show them where I found them, pointing to all sorts of places that that there was no premises there. But also what we noticed, and I think was really sad, was that they were scruffy.
Yeah.
They were particular. They're not nice A-boards. There's nothing. Someone's gone out and just scribbled on. It's not correct. It doesn't suit the town. I mean, I despair of the fact that I hate to say this, but all our shop signs are different. If you go to any of the lovely towns on the continent and you go into a town, the shop signs are all very, very similar. They're of an ilk, and it makes the whole town look smart and clean, and in our case, a bit like medieval. And we don't have anything like that. But that's the problem with the A-boards. They are supposed to be licensed, but something happened during COVID, if I remember rightly, and the licensing was changed.
Yeah, the burden changed from KCC having to do all the legwork to business owners had to produce documentation, and it was delivered in good faith. And obviously Kent County Council are fairly relaxed about A-boards because obviously businesses want to put them out to encourage people to use their businesses, and if they're too heavy-handed about them being out, then they'll be accused of trying to stop commerce, and it's a really it's a really difficult thing to manage. But I do agree with Carol that if certain A-boards were of a decent standard, and if businesses felt that their A-boards were an extension of their business and reflected on them, they might take some more care and consideration over the look. They'd probably be more acceptable to the general public if they were looking nice.
The one up at the post office, when we redid the post office, that forecourt, we moved that A-board, and in the end we just picked it up and we threw it away, and no one ever said a word about it. And it was scruffy and falling apart.
That can come from the council. Sorry, that can come from the council though. Sorry, Dean.
Sorry, Carol, just quickly, if I remember rightly, about, I think it was just before COVID, wasn't the town team going to suggest to KCC to do an A-board audit within the town?
They did. We gave them a list. We gave them a list of every A-board that was here and asked them to do the audit, because you have some businesses who were paying for, and had actually paid for that licence to put the A-board out, and then other people were doing it free of charge, which didn't really seem very fair.
No.
And we didn't know which was which. So
I think it's a good point also about signage on shop fronts, because as you say, France or Southern Ireland especially, they have unique handwritten.
Southern Ireland, no such place. The Republic.
The Republic, right? Or Ireland generally. You have really individually written signs which are quite unique. Whereas in Sandwich we've got a number of businesses. I mean, I'll name a couple: Tan Bueno, My Happy Cafe. Some which they just don't look right.
They don't.
And I don't know if there's a role either for the town council or the Tollbridge Fund or the new Legacy or the Chamber to try and promote better shop signage.
I mean, when
maybe with some, starting grants.
You guys are doing a sort of IT kind of training. What about sign writing?
Yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't. We could get someone down from. Yeah, absolutely.
I saw one advertised the other day.
Yeah, there's the problem with some of the conservation area rules regarding. Well, we had a look into it quite a lot, didn't we, Colin? I can't remember what it was about. Oh, it was about SIDS, wasn't it? Yeah. There's some. We won't mention that. There's some rules regarding it, and Costa, I think that's probably the point Dean was going to make. Costa fell foul of it before, and it's no internally illuminated signs. That seems to be the royal rule that cannot be overridden.
They wanted a big neon sign around the outside of it.
It can be externally
for Sandwich, and it was rejected strongly.
I was talking to someone the other day. I don't know if anyone remembers Dunwells in Grange Road in Ramsgate. I mean, it had a beautifully sort of calligraphy style sign for years and years in sort of silver and black. Looked really good. Whether we could introduce something like that.
I just wanted to add the point. It's really important. Obviously, we talk about disabled town visitors or residents, but we also have to think about young families, people with young children and buggies. The same restrictions and limitations apply.
I think the conditions for the ables were they have to be within the boundary of the business, not
They
4
have to be
miles
directly
away.
outside.
Yeah.
That's
Not
the
4
rule.
miles away or on the square like some of them that are from King Street.
I mean, the Haven has got one on 7 Post
Everywhere.
Alley.
Yeah.
Couldn't we start offering a prize for the worst able, worst shop sign to shame them?
Well, I think there is a role maybe for the town team, you know, like the best garden type and best best presented shop or the chamber.
I mean, my Happy Place Cafe, they've got a brilliant idea. They've got the ones they put them outside when they're open.
Over
It's the ones that are
bollards.
over the bollards. Brilliant. Looks lovely over the bollard.
Looks like one over the same. don't they?
Yeah, but then they take, but some of them don't take them out of an evening. They leave them on.
They are horrible
They're
places.
plastic and they're horrible.
The Happy Cafe ones are wooden.
Oh, yeah, no, I was thinking about the one outside town hall.
Okay, so we wanted to try and finish by 7 because that was the time when the room was booked until. So I think I'll still stick to that if we can. And it's
Before
cold
the
as
curfew
well.
bell starts ringing at 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. So can we move on? Online presence promoting sandwich. I think we've discussed that really. It's something that we need to all think about. Next item is update from DDC. I've been chasing Chris Townend and I will chase him again to try and get a response about the signage and also about the toilet refurbishment he was talking about at a previous meeting. I don't know, Dan, if you've got any updates on.
No,
any of those issues.
it's being done internally through the asset maintenance team. They're planning to do 2 toilets a year. The current one that's being done is Pencester Gardens in Dover, which, if anyone's had the misfortune of having to use the public toilets at Pencester, they are most definitely the toilets in need in the district.
Okay.
Sorry, Dan, they won't wait, will they, until Guildhall Forecourt's finished and then come and do it, because that will hit the tourist season, and if they then take the toilets out totally during the tourist season.
No. It's all of the toilet refurbishments have been planned for off season.
I just thought with all the festivals and all that, it's another.
Just bigger the tree in Cowie's Meadow.
Okay, so the next item is feedback from consultation. I sent something around this afternoon where I tried to summarise. I had lots of long responses to the letter that was sent out, and I've just tried to summarise those. But I think overall, we had responses from individuals, from businesses, from the Sandwich Society, town team people, and so on. I think overall the view was that the Visitor Information Centre was not great where it was and should either go back to its old location or to another location. But lots of ideas in there as well from certain town team members about wacky ways to promote the town in the future. I also, following Councillor Sampson's example of doing an online poll, put together a poll yesterday on Survey Monkey, which I sent out on various Facebook pages yesterday. And as of today, I've had, an hour or so ago, I'd had 94 responses, which was good.
Great.
And so hopefully I'll get 150 or thereabouts, I would imagine. So this is all useful stuff to feed into the report, which we put together. But of those responses, 81% to the question, does Sandwich need more tourists? 81% said yes, 9% said no, 13% said don't know. The second question was, should the Visitor Information Centre stay where it is or move to a new location? And 31% said stay where it is, 65% said should move, 5.4% said don't know. And then the preferred location of if it does move, where should it move to? 56% said move to the old tourist office at the front of the Guildhall. 16% said it should move to the museum. 17% said move to St Peter's. 16% to a pop-up kiosk or the Broadstairs type kiosk within the town centre somewhere in the forecourt. And another location, 11%. I've still got to analyse all those results, and I think it's fair to say that that question about the preferred location probably doesn't take into account the full knowledge about the issue with the old tourist office and the bus stopping outside whether it's now the best location or not. And maybe the museum, I suddenly had a thought, well, the museum is open 4 days a week. If it was open 7 days a week with the tourist office, and then you double up with the volunteers, I don't know if there's enough space in there.
There's not enough space to be an issue.
Space is quite important.
Yeah.
You know, it seems to me that doubling up the two together, because people are going in there anyway, might make sense. But anyway.
Colin, I know I sent this link to you. I had a bit of a brainwave to sort of, I know, well, I'm going to pass this around now. I know this might cost a lot of money, but has anybody thought about having one of these wall-mounted anti-vandal signs that will tell you everything you needed to know when the Tourist Information Office was closed? And you could get businesses to sponsor it. So I know it's an initial outlay. It's quite a lot of outlay. It's over £5,000, but that would be something that you could have on the new Guildhall forecourt that would tell you everything. You could flick through it. So I'm going to pass this round because we use this where I used to work before. So
Are they digital ones, Anne-Marie?
Yes.
The only thing I'm concerned about is because Sandwich is a conservation area. That's the only thing.
Yes, but I mean, this is like if you've just paid all this money to have the Guildhall forecourt done up. Surely something like this, which would be perfect for tourists that weren't. If the Tourist Information Office was closed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, wouldn't they? Really? If you think about it, if your tourist office is closed at 4, you're still going to have visitors coming in. They can just literally just go here, swipe down. Oh, this looks nice. Find out all these places where to go, and then you could recoup your money back by asking businesses to pay for sponsorship. So your £5,000 initial outlay, you know, you could just. But that was what my thought was when the Tourist Information Office, wherever it was going to be, was closed. This is like a 24-hour Tourist Information Office, isn't it?
Where did you have it before?
I used to work in a little place in Devon, which was very similar to this. It was called, just outside Totnes, it was called South Brent. It was a very small village like this, and we didn't have a Tourist Information Office. So South Brent Town Council, they bought one of these, and they paid all the businesses that were in South Brent, all the pubs, all the shops. They actually paid to be advertised on here, and they recuperated their money straight away, the council. And the thing with this is it's anti-vandalism. You can't vandalise it.
Or even with a sledgehammer.
Well,
sounds like a challenge.
I just thought if you're looking at tourist options, if the tourist information is closed, let's have something where people can see it all the time.
But not just tourism, it could be council services.
It could be anything. You can put whatever you want on there. You can put the doctor's surgery. You can put everything. You can put maps on there. But how great to have that. And so you're going to cut out someone from the Tourist Information Office when they're closed, and you just go. If you turn up at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and the Tourist Information's closed, you just find this, swipe through it, and find out where you can go. But that was just an idea. So.
And where does the data that's on there come from?
The data comes on. All the information there is, Colin. You can take it. It tells you how to do it. This company will set it all up for you, and they'll constantly update the data. But you can have a look. It was just an idea, I thought.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's a very good idea because it goes back to what I said before. You know, I've got adult children out there booking their own holidays. They wouldn't go to a tourist information centre. They do it all online. They come across something like that and go, oh, a little bit of quick information.
So in that way, you could still have various places that had leaflets because people would like to come in and get a map. But I was thinking with that covers everything, isn't it? That covers if things are closed, if things are open, everything.
If we could afford two, we could have one up by the station.
I mean, the initial investment is like £6,000, but just think how much money you would save. You could have one outside the station, you could have one outside the Guildhall, you know, and that's...
I mean, I was in London a couple of weeks ago, and if I want to find the best pub, I just go on the Google Maps and TripAdvisor, so it's all in your hand, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a bigger version of it, isn't it? It's just a bigger version of it, really. But I just think if you're going to look at tourism and you're going to look at investing in money in tourism, then let's think about something that's going to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's going to be there when tourist offices are closed, And we're looking at tourists thinking they come at 10 o'clock in the morning and they go home at 4 o'clock. You have tourists that come, at 9 o'clock, or tourists that come into Sandwich at 4 o'clock and are still looking for something to do or still looking for somewhere to eat. And I just thought that might be a good idea. So
I just mentioned to Colin that about a month ago I spoke to the place tourism and strategy team at DDC about a new initiative BT are doing, which they call them their street hubs, and they work exclusively with local authorities to deliver them, and they provide improved connectivity and digital access for the public with ultra-fast Wi-Fi and 4G and 5G capabilities broadcast from it, and it comes with a double aspect 75-inch screen that allows advertising, council use, everything like that. So that's something DDC are looking into at the moment, obviously for delivery across the 3 towns.
And also
The
that
forecourt.
thing is going to look like we're doing something. We're making
yes.
we're quality, we're selling this expensive, beautiful town that we want everyone to come to.
The thing is, it's like I said, if you're going to have this beautiful, lovely, sparkly forecourt, then having one of these, whether it be BT or one of those, would just fit in with the new idea of you've got a new forecourt, you've got this new information. Let's all go down this road, isn't it? So.
And one on the quay as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a way that tourists will come in and they will see something and they will instantly go to it, rather than an office that's closed at 4 o'clock. So.
Do these have a shelf life?
Again, the one we had in South Brenton, Devon, we had that for, I was there, we had it for at least 10 years. So, that's just the company that we used. It was a lot cheaper, obviously, 10 years ago, but that's the company we use. So, I just thought I'd print it out for everybody to have a look at.
And they are cheaper if they're against the wall, by the look of it.
Yes. You can have wall mounted as well.
It would actually be better because you can't get the landlord's ground and all that way, can you?
It would need an electricity supply.
Again, that's something that you'd have to. I think they set the whole thing up for you, so you'd have to. You look at that. So.
Yeah, I think it's certainly worth considering. As you say, investing in this is.
It's long-term investment, isn't it? And it shows that Sandwich, although we're a lovely medieval town, we are quite modern and up to date because we've got this lovely machine that will tell you where everything is.
And also the forecourt is modern, and the
exactly.
juxtaposition of modern and old is actually positive, good thing.
Yeah,
France does it very well.
It's actively encouraged reading the history.
It's like that. Fabulous.
So, Jenna.
Just
really fabulous.
Say £2,000 plus VAT, 5 of those, £10,000 compared with what's being spent on the Guildhall project is absolute peanuts, and I think you get a lot more feedback.
As long as they work and they're not prone to vandalism and that people can use them.
It needs looking into, but I think it's a good idea.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe we could see somewhere where they operate already.
They operate in Canterbury.
DDC community grant to get a couple.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that. It's useful. So, anything else on consultation? The next item, final decision, on the location of the tourist office. Well, I think the feedback we're getting is that most people would like to see it in a different location, but there's no clear, there is a kind of clear consensus that a majority of people want it to go back in the old tourist office.
It's not possible, is it? It's not going to happen.
There's 3 concerns regarding that. One is where the bus stops are at the moment.
Yeah.
They are too dangerous on that corner. And if the tourist office was to go in there and the kid runs out, bang, done, that's it. And then there'll be hell to pay. 2 is the weddings that the Guildhall provide throughout the year, and they use that door for the wedding march, as it were. And 3 is the community warden and the PCSO are currently in that space at the moment. We'd have to evict them. That's the only 3 concerns I have.
And also, we're supposed to have extra exhibition space. We were going to have, and that had been already decorated and made ready for exhibitions. Then COVID happened, so no exhibitions happened.
I almost
it seems to me, looking at the feedback and all the discussion, I've been privy to some of it at any rate, about the location. There are 2 problems about where it is at the moment, or about it at the moment. One is, it's not obvious that it's there at all, because the signage is making earlier. So that's relatively easy to remedy, I would have thought, with decent signage. The other is, I mean, it is actually, it looks like something out of downtown Moscow in 1960, doesn't it? It is so dreary and sort of staccanovied. I mean, if we could just spend some money, or somebody could, to make it look like something nice and agreeable and, you know, as opposed to an afterthought. That's, to me, the problem. And I don't think that we're not necessarily talking about vast amounts of money to remedy that issue.
I mean, the Guildhall, the extension was...
Yeah, exactly, that's it, isn't it?
But it doesn't have to be, does it? Where it is at the moment?
Yes, because the caretakers have to open.
Well, then again, you know, surely it's not beyond human ingenuity to sort that out.
The running report originally actually pointed the tourist office to where the museum entrance was.
Yes, that's right.
Having said that report also indicated that we should have had a nice sort of glass screen coming, a glass top coming out over that and so on.
The atrium,
But,
that was lovely.
if we're going to go for something like this, then actually doubling up with what space is it going to take up if it went into where the museum is, because the people are already there. They've got some maps and leaflets. They're there for longer, and actually they're very enthusiastic about the history of the town. From the way I look at it, really interested in the history of the town, and they can actually help and point people off into various directions. And it would be an easy place to sign, so it wouldn't interfere with where it was before and all the issues that you had with which has already been covered. But it would be in a more prominent position. And,
So Mark, I think you're the only museum volunteer here. What's your view on it being in the museum?
I don't think there's sufficient space in there.
No.
I'm not. What are the covenants on the lottery money as to how long it had? I mean, I've got 10 years in my mind, but I'm not sure what that was.
Remember that the space in where it was, in the front, by what is now the bus stop, it was minute.
No, it's dire, yeah.
So, you know,
what space? Sorry, I'm a bit confused about what space it needs. You've got a
The
volunteer.
museum, there isn't sufficient space to put it in the museum. There really isn't. That's not a solution.
But
Put a TIC in the museum.
I suppose it depends how many people are coming in at once. You can't regulate people and say that.
The problem is that you need a sufficient space, because when visitors tend to turn up, they tend to turn up by the coach load.
But could I just make the point that if you had a kind of hybrid approach where it's not all about a single office, but it's an offer across social media, across maybe these.
But what worked really well during the summer last year
it's not
was
everyone going in one
roving.
office. It's spread around the town, which is how it should be. Every business has a small display.
And you could still have
Exhibition
the
like
welcome to
this.
sandwich people walking
I
around.
mean, anywhere you
That worked well.
around the country or abroad, every hotel, every B&B has, you know, a nice map, a little thing which tells you all the local attractions, and tell you where to go and eat and all of that.
So the compass
Why
map,
is that
for example, if that
ridiculous?
was properly funded, you could have that on every hotel,
Absolutely.
pub desk.
Ideally, it was.
In lots of places.
I mean, the volunteers act as tourist officers as well, right?
Yeah,
You get people coming in. The museum is the jewel in the crown, isn't it? The courtroom, you know, it's the main place where all the artifacts are.
Maybe there's no justification for having perhaps in here with Anne-Marie, having a TIC in here, but having a TIC, in an ideal world, you put a TIC kiosk outside the station, train station, and on the quay.
I mean,
then you've got to find the people to run it.
yeah, the thing is, I don't.
Volunteers, it's not going to be as easy as.
No, and the thing is, how are you
we
going?
don't have enough for the museum anyway.
And how are you going to run it
The
if you?
museum's only open 5 days a week. It's
Yeah.
not open Mondays and Tuesdays. It's open from 10 till 4.
And it's still, Millie has difficulty finding volunteers to cover all the time.
don't think there's a shortage of volunteers. Sometimes there's extra cover required.
But surely with this high,
Last year,
sorry,
when we had
Mark.
the Mayor's Parlour open, Millie was finding it a struggle to get the extra volunteers in to cover that.
But surely if you had these sort of things around the town, would there be any need for a tourist information office? Because you'd have all these businesses that've got all the maps.
Well, I think more reason for the volunteers in there to double up, because you wouldn't have all paperwork maybe, or whatever it is that is taking up so much
You
space.
could still keep stuff. People could still go into the Guildhall, still have that.
Yeah, of course,
thing
yeah.
there. Still have things to buy.
Yes.
Yeah. And what you're doing is just saying tourist information, so if somebody does want to find it, they can go, and actually, what if it gets sort of a bit busy, you could say, well, for an extra, or for X, you could have a quick look around the museum one year, so a few more people that
The roaming officers worked really well last year.
Yeah.
With them, when the coach turned up with the sash, the hat,
Yeah.
turn up and
Yeah,
here's
I
30
think that's a
leaflets, hand
genius
it out,
idea.
and that worked really well.
That was Amanda Jane's
we
idea.
might
Yeah,
quickly get some of these.
I think though, if you had a proactive tourist officer,
Yeah.
manager, whatever you want to call it, who was managing the assistants, the walking assistants, but also reaching out to companies to make sure that when big coach parties do arrive, there's a proper, the History Society meet them and take them round, or take them to the pub, or take them
You
through
see, the thing is, you've got to remember with coaches.
Yeah. Town centre manager who's
Yeah.
covering all those kind
And the
of
thing you've got to
things.
remember with coaches is they're only here for an hour, aren't they? 2 hours at the most.
Economic
Yeah.
crisis.
Sorry,
I said the thing you've got to remember with coaches is coach companies, when they come, we are a stop off before they go to Margate, and they are here for 2 hours. And they don't want to walk around the town with a history person. They want to go in the shops. They want to come in here. They want to go and have a coffee. They want to go and have a look at all these lovely little shops. They are here from 10 till 12. They're back on that coach at 12 o'clock and they're gone. So you can't offer them, those sort of people, you cannot offer a tour because they don't want a tour. They want to come. The ladies want to go and look at the charity shops and the lovely shops.
The Bursting Hotel type.
Yeah, that's right. So the ladies want to go look at the charity shops.
Isn't that part of our problem? We don't want coaches to come in here for 2 hours. Actually, even if it was half a day, as you was just saying, that we need the coach then to come in and actually have the people to come in to spend time in the shops, to realise that, oh, it's lunchtime, we'll go and have a bite to eat. And,
then you're going to have to put sandwich on their itinerary, aren't you?
Yeah,
that's what you need to do.
I think we need to be talking, in a way,
Yeah.
I think we need to be talking to those coach companies and those tour operators and saying, we've got enough to offer you for a half a day's tour.
But this is what we did prior to COVID. At the tourism meeting, we part funded Steve and Siobhan to go to all these coach, I can't think what they were called, but exhibitions and get sandwich to be put on tours, and we did really well that year. And then we were about to embark on the next year's worth of exhibitions, and the world closed down. So
sounds to me as though we should be moving into the digital age. So we should certainly be looking at those something like that. Because that also solves the problem of how you start things out of hours. You don't, you have them on screen. Maybe there's still a need for something like a sort of residual tourist information bureau, but we shouldn't be spending tons of money or hundreds of man hours wondering about whether it should be in this place or that. Make a decision. Do one place up and make it welcoming and well signposted, and then that seems to me to pretty much answer the need of it, together with all the maps, brochures, and all the rest of it that people are doing.
I mean, one thing we haven't discussed previously is about the kind of class of tourists we want. I think at the moment we'll take anyone, but do we need people who are culture buffs?
I mean, dare I say it, again on the old tourism committee, we had a lot of discussion about that, including a lot of briefing by a tourism specialist who was absolutely first class. And by the way, it would be well worth spending a bit of money getting that person here again. She was absolutely professional. Like you guys, I mean, you would be talking the same language. No, you'd be talking the same language. You would love it. And she made the point, that it's all, pensioners are all very well. Of course, they're lovely to have them here. The spend per pensioner is tiny. Absolutely, it's hardly worth so it's nice to have people, but they're not doing the businesses any good, frankly, just coming away. So what you actually want is, families.
30 to 50.
Apparently nowadays it's families who come and spend, and you've got to produce stuff that the kids want to do. So interesting, ghost tours, or not just basic erudite history tours, but something that the kids are going to enjoy with the parents, and so on. And then, of course, we need an offering. We need some shops that actually appeal to families, and we haven't got a heck of a lot of them these days, I'm afraid.
That are open.
That are open. But that was the thing. So, if we're talking about who we need to attract, it's the families.
I would think it's more the middle class couples, isn't it?
It's not with
families.
I'm sorry to say.
Oh no, I'm not.
I'm not saying we should discourage them, but they're not the ones who are going to do the town much benefit.
As a coach driver myself, I went to Bury St Edmunds in December when I took a load to the first Christmas show in Norfolk. Stopped at Bury St Edmunds on the way home. There were only two things. The gentleman asked me where's the nearest pub, so I went upstairs, and then the lady said where's the nearest shops, and I went, it's up there, and they parted. 2 hours later, they've come back the same way that they went, and they've got back on the coach, and I've gone.
And one was drunk.
Well, I've got a good tip out of, so I'm all right. So yeah, but that's part and parcel of what they want. And Anne-Marie, you're a tour guide.
That's exactly. That's what when I take a coach. When I take coaches, when they come to Sandwich, they don't want a history tour. They want to go to charity shops, have a coffee, buy some bits to take home on the coach, and that's what they want. They spend 2 hours here. So attracting families, yes, we have lots of families come. I mean, we have lots of families that come into here who ask me where they can take the children. What is there to do with the children? So, and I always say, there's a medieval centre, and they say about the museum, and they look at me, and I'm like, no, it's not boring. The museum, it's got a Tudor courtroom. It's really good. It's interactive for the children. So maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to appeal. We need to think it's very nice to have the coaches for 2 hours. Thank you very much. They'll spend a bit of money, but maybe we need to produce a brochure that shows that Sandwich will help children. Is family friendly, maybe.
I would just add that brochure has just been produced for a children's walk round.
The Arts
Sandwich.
Society.
It's really good, actually.
But we need to get that to more families, don't we? So I mean, this is lovely. I mean, I think this is really good, but it's only in Sandwich, isn't it?
Yes.
Surely we need to either get it online or maybe get it out to. You see what I'm saying? This is lovely. If you come to Sandwich and you find this, but surely we should be promoting this outside of Sandwich so that when people come, the children know about this.
The difficult.
On Sunday, so if anyone wants them taking over, I'm happy to take them over. They have, there's masses of families there. That's where I've done a lot of my.
Where's that?
The Cliftonville Market. That's where all the families are.
Oh, yeah, on the bandstand.
When they come to the quay, and that was the one thing that a few of them fed back to me when the drill hall stopped doing coffees and bacon sandwiches at 8 a.m. That's what they were missing. They wanted to come to the quay, park up, and walk their dog with their children in a buggy, go to the play park, and the parents to have a coffee and a bacon bun. That was where they were spending their money.
The real difficulty with Sandwich and families is, as I highlighted earlier, buggies and being safe for children. It's not a popular thing, but all of the families that I know, do you fancy coming to Sandwich? No, there's nowhere safe for me to walk through the centre of town. They'll go to Dover, they'll go to Deal, they'll go to Folkestone, they'll go to Ramsgate.
That's because it's pedestrianised, isn't it?
Yeah. They'll come to the festivals.
Yeah, because it's pedestrian.
Which is great, and that's fantastic, but outside that, I agree.
We do need to reopen the debate about pedestrianisation.
Yes.
Well, we do.
We do, yes.
And also about, what's, going back to how how do you bring people here? You've got to think, what are we offering? And if it's just, with all due respect, the completest medieval stretch of Tudor, semi-timbered and all of that, it's absolutely wonderful, but it's appealing to a very tiny demographic, really.
I mean,
if this is really, it's not just about bringing people to Sandwich for the sake of bringing people to Sandwich. It is because we're proud, we love people who are not our lovely town. It is to come and money will give us some prosperity.
Yes.
And if we're not offering them or not attracting people to get to spend their money here, then we're wasting our time. I would argue.
It comes back
We are
to the...
turning into a foodie
Hospitality, absolutely.
high-end
We are.
Yeah.
consumption.
Well, that's good for some
interior
businesses,
decorating,
yes,
antiques,
obviously.
those sorts
Yeah.
of things, and that's, I would think, middle-aged
Yeah.
and
It's,
older
it's,
people.
it's fundamentally how people spend their money now, isn't it? You know, that people spend money on experiences and with their family and friends. You know, they don't act in the way they used to. You know, yeah, they want to come and do something. They want a photo on Instagram of what they did that day. You know, picture of a cake and a coffee. That's what they do.
Ramsgate
Harbour Street
is really on the up.
Look at the shops.
Yeah.
Really sort of trendy clothes and foodie shops and delis and all of that.
Well, they're not cheap.
No.
You know,
They're not, but people,
they're
you know,
high-end,
and they're opening because people are spending money. What are we doing? We're not doing that.
Well, can I just, can I, yeah,
Very high-end deli, very expensive.
You mean,
A no-name shop.
can I,
Sorry, Andy.
could be so much better.
Thomas Martin, I just wanted to say, we've got a tower here.
Yes.
It's a tower experience. There's an audio running that tells you about the tower falling down in 1661, who plays the curfew bell. I have children that come with their parents because they want to come up here, and they've absolutely had a fantastic time. They've loved hearing the bells, they've loved walking around the top, they come down, they get a free pencil. And so this is an attraction, okay? And I try and publicise this attraction as much as possible.
But that's
But
shown by what people actually do when they come here.
this
You
is an
see,
attraction.
When people take photos of Sandwich and you look on Instagram, the picture people most take of Sandwich when they're here is at the top of the tower, facing a picture of Sandwich.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what they take.
I have a thing up there that says hashtag us in your Instagram, so I've got that up there, and then and all of a sudden I'll get loads of notifications where someone's hashtag St Peter's Church. So I up the top there, I've got a thing that says take a selfie and tag yourself in. I get lots of followers from that. So this is an attraction, okay? This is an attraction for people outside this area. You have to look at what we've got in Sandwich, like the Medieval Centre, the museum, the Guildhall, the Tower, and that's what you've got to look at promoting those things. That's what you've got to do, isn't it? As well as the shops, you've got to promote those.
Yeah, talking
People
of the
like
tower,
shopping.
Yes.
talking of the towers, it was a sad loss for Canterbury, the cathedral. So we really benefited from that. It's one of the few places that was offering tower views.
Yeah.
Because Canterbury Cathedral doesn't anymore, does it?
No.
If you look at Market Street as a retail offering, I don't know, if you look at what's available now, it's so thin on the ground. It's retail. There's Martine, there's myself, that are open properly.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
The thing is, there aren't really any empty shops.
There isn't, no. We've got very...
As much as we'd like to have more shops, where would they go?
I think retail's not the shops to bring, really, because you've got, in Market Street, you've got the insurance office, you've got Boots, you've got changing rooms that was open again.
It's
now,
open
but
now, yeah.
They open not standard hours, you've got Boots.
Miss K.
So really...
And you've got the Offing Green shop on the...
Yes.
How often?
Yeah, well,
how much is the Lloyd's Old Bank
They stay
place open?
Only open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays.
And the French shop is barely open.
Barely open.
But if you want to buy a carpet, it's fine.
Yeah.
There's a carpet store now.
Yeah, but that's, I mean...
Two carpet stores.
I mean, bless them, but
We have got a problem from a retailer's point of view, is that the retail offering in town is not mixed enough, it's not diverse enough, it's not, apart from a few, it's not of the right offering.
The problem with retail is it's driven by market forces, isn't it? Planning has a certain amount of control over retail to residential, but very little.
Well, the new local plan gives some further protections, but it's not as strong as we'd like.
It's rubbish, because the shop next to us, that should have been active.
That's historic. But it's disappointing that this shop next to Finn's is going to become a solicitor's. You know, it's probably the prime location in...
That should have been the tourist information office. I mean, in all fairness...
But when you try and find out who owns these places...
Yeah, I know.
On my response, I indicated that to attract retail to this town, we've got to have the necessary infrastructure to make people want to come here to set up businesses. And that's not going to happen under the current offering. We haven't got the infrastructure.
It comes back to the business plan that we've been
serious
talking
money
about.
on this to to make it attractive to businesses to come here.
We did in the town team when we were looking at the new vision for Sandwich, which started with quite a lot of us off. And we did spend a lot of time thinking about how you create a theme which will make Sandwich more visible, more magnetic to tourism. And I always mentioned a town called Malton in Yorkshire, which they decided to turn themselves into the foodie capital of East Yorkshire or West Yorkshire, whichever it is. And they provided incentives and said there's fantastic cheese shops and fantastic delis and all of that. And it is now the foodie capital of that part of Yorkshire. We've got a ready-made, brand, Sandwich, for heaven's sake. It is screaming to be made something out of, and we've never done it. We've got a sandwich shop, but nothing else.
Yeah. There should be a shop selling souvenirs of, ham sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, you can't command these things because it's a free market, but somehow there needs to be an incentive to and an agreement that in the community that we should have a theme.
Okay.
Can I just say, I agree with what you're saying, but we've got to remember we've not only got visitors, we've got local people, and we don't want it to be like Margate, where the old town, none of the locals go, and the visitors don't go to the normal high street in Margate, because that's what's happened. And we don't want Sandwich to be that. We still want Sandwich to have lots of lovely visitors and lovely shops, but we don't want to price out local people, that when the visitors have gone in the winter, they're the ones that are still here.
But then I don't disagree with you at all, but I think that I often watch while I'm eating my lunch Escape to the Country, and the reason I like watching it is to see where they take people for their properties, and they always take them to local towns and villages, and the towns that they take them to or you see, and the people they talk about their thriving high streets. This is what's going on. The thriving high streets. And when you listen to it, and they're talking about how they started, they start with perhaps the unique selling point, which can be the foodie places, but because the people are going to the foodie places, then the other shops start encroaching too. And then actually we have got local people. I'm a local person, but I do as much as I can shop in Sandwich. But I think that the winter should be almost as thriving as the summer. That's what we need. We need it 12 months of the year. We don't just need it in the summer. No. We have to find a way of doing that, because these businesses will not survive otherwise.
No.
But we need to find a way. What if our unique selling point at the moment is food, is hostelries, if you like, cafes and whatever? That's fine, but where we've got little shops or shop premises, we need to be able to find ways of attracting those, the gift shops, the dress shops, the whatever it is, into those other empty premises. I mean, I walked down King Street. I'm really worried about someone like Lovey's going as well. And I'm sure people like John Vanderdon are, because people will walk past there to get into somewhere else. And we're in dire need. Is there something that, as a council, Dover District Council or whatever, can actually find a way of helping people to fill those shops and on no rent or whatever it is, or no rates for...
Yeah, I mean, for any council to embark on a capital programme of buying up commercial property is...
No, I'm not asking them to buy it, Dan. I'm just saying that there needs to be some encouragement. This must be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I suppose the difficulty is...
has done it in folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the difficulty... I mean, if you were looking to open a business somewhere, you'd look online, and I mean, especially recently, I mean, if you looked at Sandwich online and wanted to open a business there, I'm sure you'd steer a million miles away from Sandwich and open somewhere that was a bit more open and accommodating and friendly. But how do we change that? You know, this is where the narrative needs to be changed. Businesses, individuals need to be shouting about how great Sandwich is, extolling its virtues and putting a positive spin on the town, because people do look up social media groups especially, they research where they're going to go. And, you know, we've seen in the past that people were, you know, leaning on their tour operators to bypass Sandwich because it doesn't seem like a very nice place to go. We need to change the narrative.
Can we wrap up now?
Yes, of course.
I did say we'd try and finish by 7. In terms of the there seems to be a consensus that the Visitor Information Centre should move to a new location. Is there a consensus among this working group about where it should move to? I mean, perhaps I could ask the members of the working group, which is Mark, Dean, Jane, Carol, and myself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a consensus view?
My preference is for it to go back where it was, but you've got to address the issue of the bus stand.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
You're saying?
That would be my first choice, but if that is really not possible, my choice would be the museum.
With a hybrid.
Yeah.
Approach.
No, I agree with Mark. My concern is the bus stop and also the Guildhall Weddings venue, the hiring and stuff, and the museum.
The Guildhall's been using the wedding venues for many, many years, and it wasn't an issue when the TIC was in there before.
It's the volume of weddings that we do now. Yeah. Where I think when it was before, they were averaging 2 or 3 weddings a year.
How many happen now, Dan?
I think pre-COVID, I think it was an average 4 a month at a minimum. It was every weekend.
Mostly on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And
So
then
Dean, your view
TIC closed.
The bus stop needs to be addressed before.
And the museum would be your second.
No, I wouldn't choose the museum. It's too small.
Yeah, I don't think.
But if it was with a hybrid approach, where there were all these
my personal opinion would be to leave it where it is for the time being, for the time being. Maybe looking at the council to look in those interactive boards, to have 3 or 4 put around the town. 2 to have a pop-up put on the squares in the summer. Maybe like a kind of like a mini summer house or something, tourist information, something like that. And also what the chief executive put in before is the person walking around and meeting and greeting people.
Yeah, it's a great idea, the roaming as well.
A possible solution on the wedding issue. If the weddings are only on Saturdays, predominantly on Saturdays, on the days of the weddings, you can't have the TIC open because there's a wedding on.
Put it in the museum.
Then have a sign on the door telling people to go to the museum for the
yeah, because I think that's the whole problem, isn't it? The problem is it's not where it is; it's how long it's open for. That's the thing, isn't it?
You can still continue with the weddings and have the TIC in a good place.
What about the rest of the group? I mean, do you have a consensual view about where it should go to if it does move?
I just don't think we need one.
You don't think we need one?
Because I think informal people, I love talking to people about it. I think it's unnecessary. If we've got enough online things going on. I know Anne-Marie does.
Exactly.
They talk to me in the shop. And it's great because people come into the shop to talk to me and then they might buy something.
I think if we had the interactive boards and every business had maps and things, I don't think you would need one. I really don't think you would need one.
The difficulty is as well, obviously, where it is situated at the moment, it's obviously dual purpose. It acts as the front desk for the council and, you know, those, I mean, Mark will probably remember the amount of times that Karen and Laura and Kevin used to be up and down like a yo-yo answering the front desk, not doing their job. That's mainly why it was blocked up and put as a dual purpose. You know, there's wider impacts, isn't there?
Going back to those days, I felt that the Guildhall was much more hospitable and accommodating place for local residents than it is now. I think it's a terribly awful way of
using I'm not quite sure what to call it. These QR things.
QR codes.
Just quite realised how useful they are and I've discovered how to use them. But most people seem to know how to use them, and there should be these QR things at crucial points like the station and like at the Aqua Park, for example. I mean, all the entry points where people are collecting.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, if somebody is developing an app, I know there is an app which the National Geographic Society developed, some time ago, but they never seem to publicise it. But if somebody's developing an app now, that should be used as well.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you for what Dan said as well, welcoming, sell the place, you know, try not to be...
Sell what you've got.
Sell what you've got and sell it well.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And often.
Whatever you do, you do it right.
So,
It says.
is there a...
Just what, yeah, I was just going to add, I think the digital thing is a brilliant idea, and I think that perhaps ties in with having a focal point that people can go as individuals, because people still do like that personal contact, and if they don't, if they know, they can direct it to somewhere they know where they'll be able to ask those questions and have that conversation. I don't really know between the museum or whether it's viable, but that seems to make some sense.
It's having a mix, isn't it?
The difficulty is it's how people consume information now as well, isn't it? Whereas before, you know, people were used to opening hours and stuff like that. Whereas now, we're in the generations of, like, if I want some information, I want it right now and I want it on my phone. I'm not going to wait till tomorrow and go to the...
It's not everybody, but that's why those... That's why
they're more often, you know, and they're getting bigger.
That's why I think if you had those interactive screens and you had...
focal point as well.
Yeah, as well. Then I think you're covered all. When the place is closed at 4 or 5 o'clock, you've still got that screen to have a look at to tell you to go to a restaurant.
The other thing I wanted to just ask was, you know, we talked about how good Councillor Fox's Friends thing was. Could we not look at doing something formal like that?
Have you not seen the history project that they did when they did the tower?
No.
If you go on YouTube and go onto the history project and put in St Peter's Church, the two guys who do the history project did a big thing here, which is on YouTube, that's had lots and lots of hits.
So how could we then promote that? Because I wouldn't have known about it.
Well, I mean, we're looking at, we did something similar with the Sandwiches Open website. Lots of people wanted to see pictures of the town that weren't by, you know, one person. So we created a user gallery that anyone could submit to. That's filling up. And after I saw Anne's video of her friend, you know, there's potential that we can add images and videos of the town. You know, what a great thing it'd be if we could have a collection of 150 different videos from 150 different visitors to the town that have each got a different perspective, a different view, a different route.
I was thinking more of a formal, you know, like a digital agency who do that promotion. Maybe it's worth speaking to DDC again, Colin, to see if they're thinking about that with other areas in Dover area.
We did the Visit Sandwich promotional video that was done just before COVID. That was very well received.
I was just going to mention that. That was good.
Can we wrap up now?
Yes.
Just one more thing, Colin.
It's very cold in here, I'm sorry.
Any other business?
Yeah, this is partly in our business. I would like to request this working group goes to the council and request to have a tourism committee re-established for the council.
I was going to say that I agree with that.
Where councillors and co-optive members can come in together and we can continue this meeting as a bit more.
I mean, like Richard was saying earlier, you know, the expertise that we had on the previous tourism group was indispensable.
Really good, yeah.
Absolutely
I'm
indispensable.
not completely opposed to that. I mean, we tried to slim down the number of committees and it now comes under Heritage and Townscape, but whether it needs a...
I think its own separate entity.
I think because we've got co-optees, I think that's what makes it attractive to re-establish this committee.
So,
Yeah, I mean, before the tourism committee before was 3 or 4 councillors and there was about 10 to 12 co-optees.
Yeah,
You know, it was dominated by outside expertise.
Why did it stop?
It got abolished.
No, but it was several years ago, wasn't it?
No,
It was
COVID stopped
COVID.
it, yeah.
COVID stopped it and then it was abolished.
okay, can I just say, I think I've got enough information now from all the sources to compile a report, a draft report, you know, setting out the evidence and the proposals, or options for proposals, whatever you might want to call it. So do we need to have another meeting of this working group, or are you happy for me to draft a report and send it to everyone for comments? Maybe have another meeting if there's a need for it. Otherwise, take that through the council with recommendations.
Recommendations to set up a new tourism committee.
Are you happy with that? So that in that case, this is the last meeting of the tourism group. Thank you for all your input and contributions. Onwards and upwards.